I'm sitting here with talented artist and designer Brian Solis. He's been in and around the industry professionally since 2002. Worked with a ton of brands and notably worked with a good friend of mine, Andy Howell. So I want to bring the interview to you. This is Brian Solis, graphic designer on Designer Advice. So a lot of people that are watching my channel either have a brand or they're aspiring designers, or they're probably looking for a guy that has your skill set. So first of all, how did you get into graphic design?
I got a job doing layout work in the middle of my second year, so I bailed on school and I just went straight into this career mode.
That first job was just layout, or what?
It was just layout, and I was literally just dropping a picture within a text box and cleaning lines, and I was like, God, this is so boring. I got a job at a screen printing place. I was like, dude, maybe I want to transition this graphic design thing to clothing. It was because I was working there how I kind of got the job with Andy Howell. They posted up something on Craigslist like, do you know Illustrator? Do you know screen printing? Do you know the action sport? I'm like, oh, yes, yes, yes. So I called him, and like, do you know who Andy Howell is? I'm like, yes, I do. He's like, well, can you come for an interview? And I was the first person who they called that said, I know who Andy Howell was, and I think that's how I got the job.
Oh, wow. Or at least got into the interview. Then they saw you.
Yeah, so I got in there.
Andy Howell is crazy talented. He has an extreme amount of energy. He's a designer and a guru. He founded, created the entity of Element and then sold it off. And he's done that a couple times. What was it like working with him?
He's really as eccentric, when you hear about these artists, he's really that dude. And he's willing to sit down and drop vectors with you, and at the same time direct the brand, and at the same time fly to Paris and do an art show.
With him, you guys were working together on, was the entire project called Egg Projects?
The brand was called Egg Projects, or the company, and we had multiple brands. It really was a true umbrella.
Right.
And for someone like Andy, that's perfect because he's like an octopus, man. That guy has his hand on everything.
Right.
Right.
So, super connected.
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, I'd be sitting in his office and then Little John calls, and we're talking Little John, and Little John, for those of you out there, he talks like how he raps, on the thing. I'm not even kidding you,
like John. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, want to do some shirts for Little John? I'm like, yeah, I'll do some stuff for Little John.
We were talking about this earlier, but the layout of it is you had one brand that was going straight to.
So how that worked with Egg Projects, we had, for example, the Target one was called Universal Mind. That one went straight to Target. We even had a Universal Mind that was sold in Target Australia. We had another brand called Better Chemistry that was sold in Urban Outfitters. There's a brand that was called Emma Bright, and that was going into Nordstrom's. And the weird thing was, Andy's never designed a display case. So he's go down to Nordstrom's, measure their glass, and design a display case. And I've never designed a display case.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay. I looked at one that was a DKN wagon or something like that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Figured it out. Went back to the office, drew it out on Illustrator.
Yeah.
Threw it, in the laser cut machine. Boom, it worked.
There's a lot of product design going on.
Oh, yeah. I was coming from, I worked at a silk screen shop with Andy, I had to learn how to do cut and sew. I did bags for Australia.
Right.
Target Australia, I did 2 DJ bags, a sling bag, a backpack, and some hats. I've never done that stuff. Right. He's like, just figure it out. I'm like, okay.
He's like, go buy a backpack and figure it out.
Exactly.
Take that. Right.
Dude, we're buying bags to take it apart and figure out what I liked about it. So, some of our days he would text me meet it at the mall so we can go look at stuff.
Right.
And that was super cool. I've never been in that environment, but with Andy, it was that was a day-to-day.
Nice work spot.
Yeah.
It's like some people's dream, right?
It was neat to work with the different stores, because Macy's, they wanted to carry this brand called Paradigm, but everything had to be, at the time, Discharge on, soft body. And then we were working with, when we were doing stuff with KRS-One, Chic wanted it on tall tees. And, if it's a size XL on the neck, just size it as a large, you know what I mean?
Right, it's like a big and tall market.
Yeah.
Right.
It was just so weird, working different. You're always shifting hats.
I talk about the 10-hour days that I had when I was at Orisu. You're talking about managing multiple brands and multiple categories.
We did 6-hour days, and some days were 12-hour days. You pull into the parking lot before the sun comes up, and you pull out when the sun's going down. and it was really crazy.
What are other companies that you've worked with and freelance for?
You know, I did some stuff for Action. I worked with Mirko with that one.
Right, they had kind of like a comeback.
Yeah.
A lot of people watching my channel won't remember Action before, but it was huge with footwear and apparel. And
it was Kareem Campbell and Gino. This is like pre-Lakai. Circa actually backed it on the second round. Again, hey, do you know how to do tech packs for jerseys? That's what they want. It's like, yeah. And like, I kind of like lied on that one. Like, all right, word. I was like, what's your time frame? I'm like, they're like, well, we just need like a month. I'm like, all right, I got it. So I went to like, there was like a Reebok outlet or something like that, and I bought like a jersey, and I just like cut it apart, measured everything, tech packed it. Right. Boom. It was like, you know, like, but I had to tell him, like, I knew what I was doing. Like, I'm not saying a lie, but Shepard Fairey once said, you know, fake it till you make it. Right. And that kind of, that's what.
Right. No, I'm going to categorize that in hustling.
Yeah.
In a positive light.